I said, Amar, let's do it together, right? And we started DataSlush 1.5 years back. We wanted to have this, consulting with the research angle, right? So research and innovation.
Right.
And that's where we started DataSlush.
Welcome to Bullhorns and Bullseyes, the podcast where precision meets promotion. I'm Tom Nixon.
And I'm Curtis Hayes.
We're thrilled to have you join us as we discuss the ever-evolving world of sales and marketing. Every week, Curtis and I bring our own specific experiences and expertise, along with a special guest who has stories to tell and lessons learned to share. We're here to help you with strategies that hit the mark and amplify the marketing. Before we kick off today's episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop. And if you find our discussions on target, leave us a review. Your feedback means a lot to us. Now get ready for insights, tips, and conversations that will up your marketing game. It's Bullhorns and Bullseyes with Curtis Hayes and Tom Nixon. Let's ride.
Hello and welcome to a bonus episode actually of the Bullhorns and Bullseyes podcast. I'm your co-host Curtis Hayes. We're missing my sidekick and partner Tom Nixon today. He couldn't make it with us, but we've got a special episode for you guys with an old friend and colleague really, Jigar Navadiya. And Jigar has been working with me for, I think it's been, we're close to working on 10 years. And he's a data engineer by background, has now started and co-founded a company with his partner Amar, which is called DataSlush. And DataSlush is a partner of ours. You'll find them on the Collideascope website. And so we wanted to bring in Jigar today because he's actually flown from, so you guys are headquartered in Ahmedabad, India. And flew across the country, came into Vegas for Google Next conference on AI, and then he was over to another conference after that, and then down into North Carolina, and now he's up here in Michigan with us, and so we want to take this opportunity to sit down in the Auxiom, brand new Auxiom studios we're in today, where the BLTNT podcast is being recorded, hosted by Matt Tutor. And their team was gracious enough to let us use their space today. And so without further ado, I'd like to welcome my good friend Jigar. So Jigar, great to see you today, man. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Curtis, for inviting me. And thank you, Auxiom, for the invitation, extending the invitation and this amazing podcast setup. I really like it.
Yeah, this is great. So so you got in yesterday. Let's just start at a sort of, personal level. You had a long trip. I think you told me 40 hours from India to get to eventually LA and then over to Vegas. There were some plane issues, but thankfully you got there safe.
Yeah.
All went well. And so you started out, well, actually, before that, we met. Let's talk about how we met. And then we're going to get over to your travels. So going back about 10 years ago, I was trying to solve some attribution problems. And I was on a website called Coders Clan, and I think you were on Coders Clan, and I put out a problem to a solution that I needed, and you replied to that post, which was kind of like Coders Clan was like an Upwork, and brilliantly solved my problem, and you and I have been working together ever since. So lead us into now DataSlush and how you got started with Amar and all that.
Yeah, sure. So I think it's before I started my career, right? So I started with the Coders Clan, right, where I was very passionate about solving the problems, right, and I wanted to see what part of the other world, right, has certain problems which I can solve using my skills, right, and that's where I got introduced, by one of my friend, the Coders Clan. So I remember still that day, right, when you posted on, I think it's 2 a.m. India time.
Mm-hmm.
It was,
right?
And
you were still up?
I was still up, and I was checking, who is posted, because Coders Clan is the platform where it's first whosoever is solving, right? That will win the opportunity to continue work with the customer, right? That was kind of set up.
Yeah.
And you posted, and I was, pretty good with the JavaScript, right? So I wrote that, and here we are. We have this 10 years of amazing relationship. So I started with the technical analyst, career, right? I was very good with the JavaScript, as I mentioned. So data collection was one of the thing that I was doing at that time, right? Using the Google Analytics, right? So at that time it was Universal Analytics,
Right.
right? And I spent 6.5 years in that consulting service company, which was based in Ahmedabad only. We were close to 10 people. Then it grew up, I think, 170 when I left. So I was taking care of all the technology side of the things, right? I was managing the team, technology team.
Yep.
Then so service is something that I already experienced, right? Now I wanted to have the experience of the product side, right? That's where I got to know about another company where I got opportunity of the data engineering side of the career. So I was leading the data engineering team there, so actually before that I met Amar. So Amar and I are from the same company, right? The previous one,
Right,
but we
right.
never met in the same organization.
You were employee number 10, and he was employee number.
4 or 5, I don't remember.
Okay, so he was a little bit before you.
Before, and
Yeah.
he left, and then we met at one of the common common friend marriage function.
Yeah.
And that's where our journey started. We were having a lot of ideas where we wanted to build a generic recommendation engine for either content, product, or anything, right? So we wanted to build that recommendation engine, and I was having experience in JavaScript and a PHP and WordPress and all those things, right? So we wanted to build a plugin which basically solves all this problem, right? And that's where we wanted to, work together. And we started. There was the venture capitalist from London, right? He also interested in that idea, and we started working towards that. We built that, right? But then, unfortunately, it didn't work out with respect to the raising more funds and all those things, right? And then we dropped the idea. At that time, we got married as well.
Yeah.
And we thought, let's circle back, right? We don't want to be settled in the comfort zone.
Right. So about 5 years ago, you got married to Dara.
Yeah.
Yep. And Amar, he's got married. What's his wife's name?
Sheetal.
Sheetal.
Yeah.
And so, family starts to become a priority
Yes.
and those types of things. But then you guys reconnect and come up with the idea for DataSlush, right?
Yeah. And before that, we had actually started with the training company. So we wanted to train training center, you can say that way, right? So we have experience the data and AI industry, right, since long time, right? So we wanted to see how we can contribute back to society, right? And we come up with the idea of the training center.
Yep.
Data engineering and data science. Summer is good with the data science and AI, right? So
Right.
he designed the course for the data science. I designed course for the data engineering, and we wanted to give it a try. We did a pilot training session at one of the co-working space, and that got a good response from the people, right? I mean, the students and the professional folks. We got close to 20 folks signed up as well, but then COVID got hit.
Yeah.
Right, and you cannot do anything, right, physically. So we dropped that idea again, but we will keep discussing and exploring what we can do next, right? What we can do next, and that's where we thought, okay, let's work together at least in the product company, right? So we joined a product company called CPO.ai. It's a US-based company, right? And we worked together close to 2.5 years there, right? And then it was like, we call it as, if you don't do it right now, there's no time other, right? And that's where it got struck in our mind, and I said, Amar, let's do it together, right? And we started DataSlush 1.5 years back with the, we wanted to have this, consulting with the research angle, right? So research and innovation.
Right.
And that's where we started DataSlush.
Right. So you guys help me on the analytics side primarily. So we do some PHP development, some JavaScript, and things that you guys help us with. And then, but the analytics team is really where I get excited in working with your team. They're all brilliant individuals who help us anywhere from. Well, a lot of work lately was from moving from Universal Analytics, which we worked in together for many years, moving our clients over from Universal Analytics to GA4, tag manager implementations, which we've been doing a lot of. Our attribution tracking, which we do, which is you're the brains behind that idea that I had of putting that all together, which we're now on a whole new version of our attribution tracking, which we call Attribution 2.0,
Yep.
which is a server-side tagging of the attribution script. So basically what that does is it pulls the source data that you would see, like let's say you had a CRM like HubSpot. HubSpot's going to tell you where that visitor came from when they say fill out a form, sign up for your newsletter, or something like that. So they're going to show source medium, we would say, like Google CPC if they came from a paid campaign, or pull your UTMs from maybe a Facebook campaign or something like that. So we have a script that we've developed together that basically grabs all that information, including the client ID from GA4, including the GCLID, which I talk a lot about on this podcast, and we use that for Google Ads to optimize campaigns and do offline conversions. So we capture all this data that's there for us to use as marketers. Now we're working on a lot together for cookie consent, which is really important. I think it's going to be really important for all the U.S. businesses here in the future. Get our cookie consent banners up, which are not just a banner on the website as a notice.
Yeah.
The cookie consent actually controls the cookies and whether or not, if a user based off of preferences wants cookies to fire or not, then they can control those preferences. So our teams are working on that together, and we do a lot of reporting, data visualization, and data analysis together, conversion rate optimization. So you've got a great team over there working on the analytics stuff. So you mentioned Amar's big on the machine learning and AI side, and so you guys have been doing a lot of work there, which we're going to get into. But this isn't your first visit to the United States. You've been here quite a few times before. In fact, you were here 5 years ago and visited me in Michigan because you had some Google conferences you were at.
Yeah.
So there's another Google conference that just came up, the Google Next conference that you went to first. So tell us about the Google Next conference and what you learned there and what all you got to see.
Yeah, sure. First of all, it was like a 3 days conference, right? It was on April 9th to 11th. It was really huge. There were more than 30,000 people were attending that. It was in Las Vegas, Mandalay Bay.
Yep.
Right. So my biggest takeaway from that conference is the agents, right?
What's an agent?
Yeah.
So describe an agent for us.
Yeah, sure. So agent is basically you can say it's a bot itself, right? But it eliminates the human work, right? And it helps us to collaborate directly with the technology to solve any specific task that you want to do, right? In a nutshell. So they have the 6 types of agent that they have, talk about there. So one is the customer agent. Second is the creative agent. Third is the code agent. Fourth is the data agent. And fifth is the security agent. Sixth, I'm missing.
5 out of 6 is pretty good, though.
Yeah. So this type of agents that they have launched.
Google's launching specifically.
I mean, they talk about the concept, right? You can use Google's technology to build these kind of agents for your specific need, right? So, for example, you are in retail, right?
Okay.
Or you are in e-commerce, right? You want a customer agent. The customer agent sits between your customers and your business line, right? And it helps customer to solve their queries, right?
Right.
It gives the human touch, right? It's using the generative AI technology, so it's backed by the Vertex AI platform, right? The underlying models, you can use any open source model, Gemma or any the model garden family is there. You can choose that. Otherwise, you can use the latest Gemini 1.5 Pro, right, which is the latest multimodal, right?
Okay.
And you can resolve the customer's query directly, right? You can use so one of the demonstration that they have given, right, it was very powerful, where the person is actually trying to figure out the specific tailored clothes she wants to purchase, right? And they just upload the picture, it got figured out, and it search that particular item, and it figured out the nearby location as well. Okay, where you can get that, right, physically.
Right.
And it books through the voice call throughout, right? So it's searching that item, figuring out where you can get from the nearby location, as well as booking that for you right now, right? So you can directly call, it directly connects with the store as well, and it book that particular item for that.
Right.
So that is powerful, right? So and that's more on a purchase journey, right? But if you talk about the customer support, right, you will also get your customers' queries solved real time, right?
Yeah. So what what are some of your biggest takeaways, I guess, from this conference? Like where do you see the future? At least what was Google saying the future looks like as far as, I mean, is it more tools that they're putting out that are allowing developers like you guys to be building things? Like where do you kind of see this is headed from an AI perspective?
So from the developer economy, right, or developer community, right, it's more of the code agents that I am talking about, right? That will be the next big thing, right? Because they have integrated these code agents literally in all the cloud services they have, right? So as a developer, you want to debug your code, right? The code agent is there. You can analyze the logs. It can help you to improve upon your code.
Right.
That increase the productivity.
Right.
Right, and accuracy of the code and all those things, right? If you want to, test certain use cases, you can use the code agent, right? If you want to automate certain tasks, right, you can use the code agent. You want to have the, write the code along with you, right? It's a co-pilot, right?
Yeah.
You can use the code agent as well.
Right.
Right. So some of the things where you need certain initiation of the projects or deploying the particular services on the cloud, those things got automated using this code agent. So it literally, I would say it definitely increased the 10x productivity for the developers.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I use it to just ChatGPT itself to help me solve, HTML problems I'm having, or I've got an error in code and give it to ChatGPT and it says, oh, this is why you have an error. You missed a quotation mark or, a colon or, whatever. So I can't imagine, what you guys are doing on that end, using these agents to, help you develop faster, again, have cleaner code, improve efficiencies, and all those types of things. So from the next conference, then you went over to San Diego, and there was a ASU+GSU summit?
ASU+GSV summit.
ASU+GSV summit.
Yep.
And now that was specifically what's happening in the education space.
Yep.
as far as AI is going. And you guys have a relationship with ASU, and developing some things. So let's first, kind of in general, let's talk about that conference and kind of where things are going and headed with AI in the education space. And then we can talk about what you guys are working on there.
Sure. So before the ASU+GSV summit, it was the air show by GSV.
Yeah.
So it's air show, basically AI revolution in education. That's what they call, right? Where it was open for, everybody. The educators were there. The ad tech companies were there. The companies like Google, AWS, right? Microsoft, right? Folks were there. And there are people who were showcasing their, ad tech products, right? And I was there for, experiencing the education world, right? Like what are the people are using the AI, right? In the education, right? To my mind, we are talking about kids, right? And the AI technology, which is very powerful, right? So ethics and appropriateness it should be there, right? When you talk about
for sure,
yeah, and when we give this kind of powerful technology to students, right? Efficacy matters, right? And we're glad, like we are working with a very innovation-driven organization, right? Which is ASU Prep Academy, right? We are working since last 1 year with them, right? And we started working with the POC, right? Let's build the POC where we wanted to build the AI tutor. It's not AI tutor literally, but let's call it as a, for audience understanding, right? Math AI tutor, right? Where the goal is we wanted to improve the math literacy, right? Because in United States, I don't remember the states, but when it comes to math, students are really struggling a lot here.
Yeah,
right?
we are falling behind in the United States in some of these areas, including math, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So ASU prep goal is they want to improve the math literacy, and we literally joined that mission with them, right? And we started with the POC, so just figure out if AI is able to generate the right hints for the students, right? So it can fill the gap of the tutors, right? I mean the teachers, right? And students are, let's see if students are able to solve by themselves, right, those practice problems. So
right. And this is the danger. Let me pause you there for a sec, because this is sort of the danger of AI, in that, this even sort of existed in some subjects of just students using, say, Wikipedia, right? With the invention of the internet, when we go and study, you could just go to Google and ask it a question, and it's going to give you an answer. And we can just use those answers in our homework and, those types of things. And then, really sort of ask the question of, like, well, what is learning, right? Is it providing the right answer, or is it the journey that gets you to the right answer, right? So does that student have the ability to problem solve? Do they have the ability to think critically? And so, in the area of math, understanding the fundamentals of math and problem solving that get you to an answer. What we don't want is a system where I can put in the equation and it just gives me the answer, because what did I really learn there, right? So this this AI Math Tutor that you guys have worked on is essentially acting like a teacher, in a sense that, what you told me last night, a teacher would come over and wouldn't just, if you had a question and you couldn't solve the problem, they wouldn't just give you the answer. The teacher would walk you through the steps, give you some hints, to take you on that journey. So you're learning, right? And they're showing you how to problem solve. Right. So you're using AI to essentially, replicate that in a way, right? So providing hints to the student that gets them to the answer. And we actually got a chance to test that with my 15-year-old daughter last night, and pulled that up, and she went through and built out some problems, which was pretty cool.
Yep. And it's all thanks to David Sudarma, who is the CTO of ASU Prep Academy, right? So he set that vision, right? We don't want to kill the cognitive ability of the students, right? And that's where we started brainstorming, right? How do we want to, guardrail it, right? It should not give the answers, right, directly to the students, right? It should give the hints, right? So what is your primary focus when it comes to, as a teacher, let's say if I ask you, right, like you want to ensure that students are able to learn math, right? So right now it's for Algebra 1 with a few specific topics that we have, right, that we have added as a capability. And that student will focus on solving the equation. There is no free fall where they can, chat and interact, right?
Right.
Like other tools available in the.
They're not asking questions to the bot.
Yeah.
Right. They're specifically trying to problem solve.
Right.
Yep.
It is same as, you are writing, so there is an equation on the paper, right? And you are solving it, and teacher try to, find you the incorrect, right? And it highlights there, and it gives you the hint or something, right? Right now it's not highlighting a specific thing, but what we have is where we have the hint, right? It shows the hint, okay, this is where you have made a mistake, right? And it encourages students, right? Okay, this is what you can do next step, right? It gives the little hint, then you can try to solve it. If you are able to get it, it appreciate, right? And it gives the next step, right? It gives if you want, right, what will be the next step, right? It will give the another hint. That way it is, helping students to solve the equation.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing. And so, conceptually, this idea gets brought to you guys. You guys have been in development with it and working with them, and we got to see a demo of it last night. It was really, really cool. So what else at this conference? I mean, other concerns, other than that in the education space, or I know you got some, other thoughts and ideas about different technologies and things that people are working on. But what else can you share that you learned there?
Yeah. So right? I recently become a parent. I have 2 boys now, right?
You have 2 boys.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm same for Amar as well. He has 1 boy, right?
Okay.
So we were talking about the education, because in India it's completely different, right? But when we were exploring the school, the pedagogy and all those things, right, we saw that there's a huge gap in the education, right? And we are worried, literally worried about the next generation, right? Gen Alpha, right?
Yeah.
Like how they are pretty smart, right? But the education or these edtech tools or any pedagogy should not restrict their the creative thinking and all those things, right?
Right.
So if you are using it right way, AI, so for sure the generative AI or AI will live with us, right? So you have to learn that, right?
Right.
But how do you educate students or kids, right, with that, right? And that's where one of the thing that I have seen, right, in this kind of summit, right, where you brainstorm with educators, right, with the people who believes in the innovation, but at the same time, as I said, right, they care about the values, right, the ethics and appropriateness, right, when it comes to the AI in the education, right, and make sure the efficacy is there, right?
Yeah, there's some real concerns I think there.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a teacher shortage in the United States for quite a while. There just simply aren't enough teachers for all of the students, especially in rural areas, across the country where like algebra, you might be in a rural area where there is no certified algebra teacher that lives in that area. And so, what can these schools are going to have to adapt to technology in some way, but then there's the concern again about, the technology itself, and does it do as good of a job, which
Right.
nothing replaces an actual teacher and a human being that's teaching somebody else. That's irreplaceable. But there's things that can supplement that with AI. But again, using the AI in a constructive way
Yep.
that allows that student to grow. And so it's really amazing what you guys are working on, and really at the forefront of what's going to happen with AI and technology and education and all those types of things. Yeah.
Right. So we started with this R&D innovation, research and development innovation lab at DataSlush, right, where we are almost spending 20% of our revenue directly into the
Yep.
research and development, right? So we started exploring how AI can help with the stakeholders like educators, teachers, parents, and students, right, to ultimately achieve the learning outcome, right? And we started building small prototypes along with that, like how teachers can generate the lesson planner using some techniques, right? So there are strategies, the add up strategy, or I do, you do, we do, right, kind of
Right.
strategy, right?
Yep.
So we have one solution there as well, which generate the lesson plan for teachers, right? You give the like you tell give the certain information, right? What is your class, what do you want to achieve, what is the demography, right, what subject topics, right? Once you set up that, you choose the strategy, right, and it generates the lesson planner for you, right, where teacher can focus on executing that lesson planner, right? Now if they want to modify, they feel free to modify as well, right? So that is one of the solution. I mean, it's still, we are testing it, right? And that is something that we recently developed, right? Another thing that we are experimenting is generating the video out of it, right? So for example, you want to explain certain concept to student, right? Or you figured out, okay, these are the concepts or techniques that student required more improvements, right? So how do you use the storytelling and the creatives, right, combined together and generate the video which explains them,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
So that is something that we are now experimenting with that, right? So we have a ambition project called Teachable Machine. We have a code name for them, that project. In that we are doing these multiple pilots, right? We are building so many demos, the lesson planner, this content generation, the storytelling way of the content generation, which students really resonate, right? And they understand, okay, this is the concept, right?
Right.
Now imagine you have the personalized way of personalized data, and you blend it with that, right? You know a little bit more about students, right?
Yeah.
Their interests and all those things, right? Then it will be more personalized video for them, right? And that can help them to achieve the learning outcome. Ultimately, that will
Right.
set, right?
Yeah, and I mean, these types of things, it sounds like free up the teacher's time too. I mean, if
Yeah.
it's building a lesson plan or helping build an individual plan for a specific student that has certain types of needs,
Yeah.
that frees up the teacher to spend more time with that student because
Exactly.
they're not behind a desk and a computer trying to do those things. So it's really cool what you're doing there. So I let's switch back over to DataSlush. There's you guys have been growing. How many employees are you at now?
Right now we are 20.
20, yeah. So it's pretty cool. Just these are fun journeys to watch and kind of go along the ride with you guys, having it be just the two of us that worked first, and then you introduced me to Amar, and now there's a whole team of people there in Omnibot that are working on these fun and exciting projects. Now, as you're growing, we've had some conversations. You guys have a specific process or like fundamental. I should say process-driven business plan that you guys are working through. What does that explain that to us?
Oh yeah, right? I love processes, right?
Yeah.
So
It's one of the things I do like about you, Jigar. Documentation is always good and follow process, which a lot of developers,
Yeah.
I got to say might be great developers, but sometimes aren't great communicators and documenters and those. So, your team is always great with that. So that's
Yeah.
good.
We wanted to build a team which is not heavily dependent on the people, right? There are more processes involved, right? And that's where Amar came up with this OKR process, right? The objective key result, right? So we read one book, right? And he said, hey, let's start having the OKR, right? And earlier we were having these processes. We have defined certain processes. Let's say we wanted to have this delivery setup, right? So in the delivery team, we wanted to have certain processes and all those things, right? But then we come up with the more structured way of executing things, right? Because we are a startup, right? We have a customer delivery as well as we are talking about the R&D and product development, as well as we wanted to ensure that the organization structure get all these processes as well, right?
Yeah.
Involved, right? So we started with the OKR, right? Where every quarter we define the OKR. This is our third quarter. The first quarter was literally miserable. Like we had we wanted to achieve 100%, it's a mission. It should be, right?
Right.
But we ended up with 30%.
Okay. 30%. All right. Yeah.
We openly, talk about that as well with team, as well as we have Amar wrote blog as well, like
Right.
what went wrong as well, right? And next, but we never settle with that, right? We thought, okay, let's do it again. Now we know, right?
Yeah.
What is the ambition versus reality and all those things, and what went wrong, right? We had lesson learned. So we did another quarter. We reached to 70%, right? Now these are the numbers, but actually, what is an impact that we have made, right, with these processes? That is the most important thing, right? Because OKR is something that you set on a company level, then team level, and then
Right.
and the individual level, right? That's what we are following.
Right.
And there's a really good tool, right, which is free and available for everybody, which is Sugar OKR. Thanks to the Sugar OKR team for this amazing tool. We are using that for setting up this OKR process, right? So in that, what we are doing is I and Amar decides on a company level OKRs, then the leadership team, right, where we have Aarti, Darsh, right, Zil from our HR team, right. We get together and define the department or the team level OKR. So right now we have delivery team, we have HR, and we have sales. I'm the alone right now. We don't call it as a sales. We more of a customer engagement and all those things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but still we have a virtual team. So I take care of sales, marketing, and the finance. I'm gonna take care of overall delivery. Delivery has the analytics team, engineering team, and R&D and the AI team, right?
Right.
Aarti leads the analytics team.
Yep.
Darsh leads the R&D and the engineering. Amar leads the AI. Soon we will have, under Amar will lead the AI side of the things as well. So this is the pretty structure, right, we have. So we define that all the team level objectives. We discuss on that, right? What is more important, and everything should be, look up to the company level objective, right, or the team,
Right.
whatever it is, right? And once it is freeze, we put it in the Sugar OKR tool. We share it with team. Then individual team will work together, right, with the individuals, right? So
Right.
team leader, and then they further, drill down into the individual level OKRs.
Right.
So this is the process that we are following, right? And just the new quarter gets started. So our financial year is April to March, right?
Yep.
And this is our third OKR quarter, but it's a
First quarter.
quarter of the new financial year, right? And that's where we have defined. And this time we are having a really, really amazing, the objectives that
Yeah,
we have taken
yeah.
up. 10 prototypes we are building, right? Some of them will be in education and other industry as well. We are tapping in. So those are the OKRs that this is the process that we follow, right, to define the OKRs, right? And everybody will now work independently, right, with the same goal, which is the company level.
Yep.
If they are able to contribute to their individual OKRs, which translate into the team level achievement, and team level will be to the
Yep.
company level. So
Yep.
this is what we follow.
Yeah, and 20 employees, you said,
Yeah.
which is awesome. And you need these types of systems to grow. I was with an agency that I helped grow to 22 employees was our max. We used a platform at the time called Success Factors, and that was very similar. So we set our organization goals up the top, leadership did. That was passed down to the managers who then worked with the employees, and they all set their goals, and their goals had to align to the organizational objectives. So that's amazing you guys are doing that, and it really gets everybody aligned, gets the culture aligned to where you guys are headed. Nobody's guessing about what you guys are doing and those types of things. And so bravo to you guys and everything that you're doing there. Anything you want to share, on the forefront you guys are working on, or anything, coming up next for DataSlush? Any goals you might want to share? I mean, where are you guys looking to take this before we close up?
Yeah. I and Amar are very keen to solving the problem and having the products, right, and the solutions, right? So we started with the consulting because there was no solid idea on the product side, right? But since we are experiencing now the service side, the next journey will be on the product side. Definitely come up with some products, right? We have a bunch of ideas that we are validating. Right now, it's not concrete. I'll be very honest here. So that's where the OKR, the 10 prototypes that we have defined, right, will use the R&D innovation, right, to build these such solutions and the products, right, and we will validate it.
Yeah.
So that will be the next journey for us.
Right. Well, and you guys have a blog, so everybody could follow you at dataslush.com, and then you and Amar, you're both on LinkedIn as well, so people could find you on there. We can put those links in the show notes. So it's been a pleasure, just being your friend and working with you all these years, and looking forward to the many years to come as we continue to collaborate, work together. So yeah, great to have you, Jigar. Any final thoughts? Any last words?
Nothing specific. Yeah, thank you for having me, and I really look forward to this partnership ahead.
Yeah, and safe travels back to India.
Yeah, thank
all
you.
right, yeah. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, same here.